This is sacred ground for American motocross. For nearly 4 decades, the sport's greatest riders have faced the unique challenge of racing on the Holbert's family farm. For today's young stars of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, a victory at High Point is of particular importance. A chance to join the heroes who have went before them on a track upon which the sport of motocross in the United States was founded. The 38th High Point National is about to get underway, live on MAV TV.
The rolling hills of southwestern Pennsylvania welcome you to round 5 of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing, the UPMC Sports Medicine High Point National. Hello everyone, Jason Wygant, multi-time motocross and supercross champion Grant Langston here in the booth, and Georgia Lindsay, of course, will be joining us all day long trackside. Now High Point, a pretty unique racetrack, but the storyline continues from our opening 4 rounds of the championship. We'll tell you about that with our big picture storylines. First, Jeremy Martin, your defending 250 champ, had some bad luck about 3 weeks ago. Bike problems, crashes. He is now roared back with 2 straight overall wins and is back into the points lead. And a similar type of story for your defending 450 champion, Ken Roczen. A bad opening round with an injury. Got his first Moto win of the season last week in Tennessee, so hoping to build on that and maybe win an overall. And he needs to get some wins because he's got to try to track down Ryan Dungey, who won last week in Tennessee for his 40th career victory. That makes him 3rd in the all-time list. We'll see Roczen and Dungey in about an hour, but right now it'll be the 250 class. Martin versus Musquin. Grant, that's been the battle all year. A couple other riders hoping to knock them off.
Well, they've won all the races. You can see by the points gap, but right behind them, a gaggle of young, fast, talented riders. They're closing that gap. This could get interesting.
Well, we're going to see. Cianciarulo, he thinks he might have a Moto win in store today. This could be a track where a lot of riders have broken through, and it could be the one for him to do it today. Let's get a little more update on what it's like to race at High Point. We'll send it down to Georgia Lindsay at the GoPro starting gate.
Yes, well, I have a first and second in qualifying next to me here. Marvin Musquin. Now, first of all, first in qualifying, the track has had a lot of changes, a little bit more tight. How's your feelings towards the track now?
Oh, I have a great feeling. I mean, I love that track. We got some rain last night, and it made the track really technical, soft, and ratted, so I like that. There's a lot of jumps, and they changed the layout a lot this year, and it's really cool. I like it. There's a nice quad over there, the big jump, good for the fans. So, yeah, traction is great right there behind the gate on the track, so it should be a good racing.
Best of luck. Thank you, Marvin. The other side of me, we have Jeremy Martin as well. Now, 2 whole shots so far this season. Looking at the start here at the track, we just talked about the starts and the changes of the track, but how important is the start going to be here at High Point?
I mean, the start's important. I think it's probably one of the most important things. It's the only place you can pass 42 guys, so it's very important. And then if you can get out front and get a clear track, you can ride your lines and get away. So start's important.
Awesome. We're looking good in qualifying. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, will it be Martin versus Marvin, or will someone else get in the mix? We'll find out. 250 Moto 1 is coming your way. Just under 5 minutes from our first gate drop of the day here at this UPMC Sports Medicine High Point National. Jason Wygant, Grant Langston, and Georgia Lindsay here at High Point. Show you exactly how motocross works with our 4-1-1. 2 classes will race today. Each class will have 2 motos. So in each class we'll total up the results from those 2 motos to determine the weekend's overall winner. And it's a 12-round championship. This is the 5th, so we're already near the halfway point. That time went fast. So that's the format. We're going to show you the racetrack here with the Kawasaki track map. Grant?
Well, go up this hill at Mount Morris, make that sweeping left, come down. Hopefully you get that motorsport.com hole shot into this tight right-hander, hard braking zone. Over the infamous tunnel jump, then you got to get through these rollers clean. Go to the Lucas Oil drop-off, make a right. New this year, a hard left into a triple step up. We got to give everything you got on a 250 to get over. Make a right down these hills. We're just starting to get these long ruts into them. Then this part of the track actually tightens up a little more than it shows on the track map. Go over the hip jump over there. You make a left, Now you start going in front of the tens of thousands of fans. And this right here is that big quad jump
Yeah,
that
they'll
we've
go
seen
all
the
the way
guys
over to this
there.
if they do it right. Wow.
Yeah, over the fly jump. Make a right, left, back up the hill. But this track is challenging with all the rain we've had. The ruts are getting deep. We've seen a lot of mistakes in practice. Now they go back up to another fast part of the track. Make this U-turn down the hill. There's a drop off. Then get your weight back. Get on the gas. Get through these rollers up the hill into the sweeping left where you'll hit the finish line jump. Then you'll head down what they call Bradshaw Boulevard past the Fram Mechanics area. Another hard braking zone. Little step down the hill. Right-hander, hopefully tripling up this hill every lap. Sharp right, swing back onto the start straight. That's a lap from Mount Morris.
This track is actually laid out by a German motocross racing team back in the mid-1970s. So they always say it lends itself to the European riding style. Marvin Musquin proving that today. He is your Bud Light Fast Qualifier Award winner. He is a Frenchman, and it seems like these technical, rutted tracks seem to work for his style. Is he keeping him cool? I'm not sure what the mechanic Frankie was doing there. Here's your GoPro track preview. We mentioned how technical it is. We're on board with Jesse Nelson. Talk about what makes it technical.
Well, this is still early in the day, but already you see riders having problems. But the ruts are getting really deep. Not only they're deep, they've got these big, like, chuck holes in them. Mm-hmm. You see the guys getting really unsettled. This is all the new part of the track. You heard Marvin saying he liked the changes.
Yep.
Gets a little bit tight here, you see, through these rollers, and hard on the brakes, try and get to the inside. So it's a lot of gas brake in this section.
Right.
Now you come up that sweeping hill. So they've shaved this jump down so they can't, they don't double that anymore like they used to in the past. Then this is probably the funnest jump on the track for these guys. Come around this left sweeper, full throttle on a 250F, wide open, big air.
Got it.
Barely getting over it. And then this section is also really fast with a sweeper down the hill.
And that corner, those ruts, totally different now. They're a foot peg deep from what we saw earlier in practice. Here's your KTM keys to the Moto, Grant. What do you need to do to succeed today?
Well, we talked about changing conditions. We've had some rain. It's drying out. The humidity is up. The ruts are getting deep. You've got to be smart with line choice. Smooth through the ruts. If you're too aggressive, it'll unsettle the suspension and you'll be bouncing all over this track and going nowhere in a hurry. And who can beat the duo? We're talking about Musquin and Martin. Who's going to be the next one to step up and wrestle a win away from these guys?
They have swept it so far. No one else has been able to beat them this year, but we're seeing some riders start to establish themselves. Nelson, Cincerillo, Aaron Plessinger led some laps last time. Zach Osborne, a podium 2 weeks ago in Colorado. So a lot of riders on the outside looking in. They do not want to see two riders gobble up all the wins this year. And a pretty famous start setup here at High Point, an uphill, big sweeping left-hand turn. As the Fly Racing 30-second card comes up, how many times have we seen a rider not in the front of the pack into the first turn, and then by the time the track gets into turn 2, he's up front. You can make some moves early.
Well, it's a long sweeping left, and a lot of the guys will push out wide. So if you can keep it tight and get the power on the ground, you'll gain a lot of spots right there.
All right, so the mechanics have now backed away, and it's time to go racing. Martin is the points leader, but it's only a 6-point gap over Musquin. So this point sheet could flip again by the end of today's race. And not a good start for Martin. He was back as soon as they came over the gate, but a good one for Musquin. He's out front on the 25. Will he get the official motorsport.com hole shot? He will. It's Matt Bisceglia right behind him, and RJ Hampshire as well. So a pair of Geico Hondas, 3 Geico Hondas. Wow, they are off to the races. The Honda boys are trying to gang up here on Musquin. Bisceglia, Hampshire, Christian Craig, and Cincerillo on the green number 50 in there as well.
Well, you saw that riders fanning out 3 wide through those rollers, but Marvin able to hold on to it. But the Geico Honda boys, they came to play today. 2nd, 3rd, 4th.
Jeez. Hampshire on the 80 goes around his teammate Bisceglia. Bisceglia dealing with heat from Craig, and Cincerillo gets them both down to the inside. Just able to hold on to it. So the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider up to 3rd.
What a move by Cincerillo. Just saw an opening up the inside. The inside actually there looked like the smoothest line. He left the braking to the last minute, made 2 passes and 1.
Hampshire, a rookie, really coming on strong as of late. Got 5th in our 2nd moto last week. That's a career high. Building on it now in 2nd. And we mentioned Jeremy Martin, our points leader, not a good start. They had the elbows in front of him about 10 feet out of the gate, so he's got work to do.
And the last thing he wanted to see was the number 25 out in front, because he knows he's got to make some passes and make them fast, because with the pace Musquin showed in qualifying practice, it could all be over before it begins for him. Wow, another mistake by Hampshire.
Cianciarulo's going to be on the inside at the very top of this hill, scrubbing these jumps together.
Has he got it?
I think a little mistake, feet off the pegs for Cianciarulo, and that's going to allow Hampshire to get him back. And Christian Craig making moves, as is Zach Osborne, 4th and 5th. Hampshire, good job fending off some serious heat from Cianciarulo, and Craig is trying to follow. Man, lines all over this track.
Yep. Don't want to hear from anyone you can't pass on this track. The way the track's unfolded, there are multiple line options everywhere. Look at Cianciarulo.
That was practically off the track. Cianciarulo clipping it like a slalom race around the ski course.
I think clipping it keeps you legal.
I'd say so. Like I said, like skiing. Outside, inside, and that's the trademark of this track. These off-camber corners, the track is falling away from you. You don't get much of that in this championship. Except here, almost all the corners seem to be unlevel.
Yeah, and this is coming to that new section, so for these guys, basically no one's really had much practice with this setup, but you can tell how much throttle they have to give. You see the casing, Cianciarulo comes up short in that triple step up. That's because these 250 guys are coming out of that tight turn and giving it all they got to just barely get to the top of that hill.
Hampshire wisely going down to the inside of that right-hander before those jumps. That's where Cianciarulo made passes the last time, so he adapted to that.
How about Christian Craig? I'm very impressed with this guy. He really surprised me at Colorado, basically coming off the couch. We always talk about there's one thing practicing, but when you get out in the race, it's a whole different kettle of fish. And he has really just fit in right like he never even left.
He's right in the hunt again here. Let's send it to Georgia with more on Craig.
Yeah, speaking to Christian earlier, obviously last weekend he had troubles with his chain actually, where it kind of derailed. Something happened with that, so he exited the race for that reason. However, he's getting back into race shape now. It's taken a few weeks, obviously, to get back into it because he kind of got thrown into the season. But he said, I'm feeling a lot better now, but obviously with the heat, that's going to be a problem. So let's see if we can withstand the 30-minute moto with the heat.
Yeah, Craig is the replacement rider for the injured Justin Bogle. He was planning on showing up second half of the year in July at Redbud. He was going to start racing on a 450. When Bogle got hurt, they said, can you move up and come back 5 weeks early? Oh, there is Martin, your defending champ on the number 1, is way back, but also Bisceglia here on the 38. Remember, he was second and battling Musquin for the lead out of turn 1. He has dropped back. Martin is moving forward. Let's see if he can make the move. This is for 8th and 9th. Bisceglia trying to hold him off.
And right behind them, Jesse Nelson. So also not a fantastic start for him, but we say a bad start for Martin. He's still in the top 10. Bad start would be laying on the ground in the first turn.
He's been there.
He's been there as well, yeah. So all that's going to happen for him right now, he's got to be smart, do not panic, and find different lines like that. See, doubling of the tunnel jump, goes to the outside, squares it up, slightly different rhythm, but you're not going to pass by following. Cianciarulo trying to use a lot of these outsides as well as not follow the rider in front of him, but good job to RJ Hampshire. He is hanging on tough, and Marvin Musquin, it's not like he's walking away from these guys either.
That's right, he's still there. Watch, he's just in the corner ahead of them. So Hampshire running the pace told me he's a lot more comfortable now the races are back on the East Coast. He's a Florida native. He's glad to have spent a lot of time in California working on the motorcycle with the team, but he said now he has the bike where he wants it. He's back in Florida. He's doing nothing but training. No more testing of the motorcycle. And just, actually, a lot of these guys will point out that the flights are shorter and they're a little bit fresher. Same time zone.
Which is a big difference.
So they come into the races, he's just feeling a lot more fresh, and it is showing as the number 80 in his first pro season, running second. Cianciarulo behind him, then it's Craig Osborne 5th, Alex Martin 6th, Savachi 7th. Then you have that Bisceglia and Jeremy Martin battle 8th and 9th, and Nelson we saw right behind them in 10th.
Notice how RJ has those handguards on. This track does have some mean rocks, and in these high-speed sections, you get a rock on the knuckle. We've seen guys in the past literally break fingers and knuckles. So some of the guys electing to go with handguards. Also, if they thought it might be raining, it also helps keep mud off the grips. So once you get mud between your grip and your glove, it is a nightmare.
Oh, a little mistake on the entrance of the corner. I thought that was for Hampshire.
And then Cianciarulo made a little mistake right on the outside.
So no change in the second and third, but I think Cianciarulo told me this morning he thinks he has a shot at winning a moto, and I think you're seeing that extra aggression. He wants to keep Musquin in sight. First, he would have to get Hampshire, not easy to do. But he is really going for it here, trying those different lines, like you said.
I think at this point they're trying to figure out what's the quickest way. If the guy in front of me goes to the inside and rolls the tunnel jump, I'm going to double it, go to the outside. You've got to try that. If you're losing it, Cincerello slowed down for a tear off there. I don't know if he had some vision issues, but he actually almost slowed down and really pulled that tear off. Sometimes they get stuck on the actual clip.
And behind them, it looks like Osborne trying to make a move on Craig. Oh, that inside line that Cincerello is using is so rough. And then you'll see right behind them at times the red fender and the white. There's Craig, there's Osborne, and Osborne has brought Alex Martin and Joey Savaggi with him, so they're trying to get around Craig. Now Craig had that great ride in Colorado, struggled big time last week. He had the chain problem that Georgia said. He told me he was sick coming into that race, didn't have the energy that he was hoping to have. He says this week he feels a lot better, and he told me I need to ride a lot better than he did last week. So we'll see if he can hang in there. I don't think the speed is in question for Craig at this point. He already showed in Colorado he has it. It's all about the endurance right now.
Well, especially if you come off being sick, I guess for him, like you said, I need to ride more. The worst thing that can happen is you get sick and then you don't ride.
Yeah.
While other guys are getting a little fitter and a little stronger each day, each week.
And remember, he was behind already.
Exactly, exactly. And you know, you got to admire his honesty, saying, hey, this heat will affect me. I'm going to, basically his game plan is going to be go as fast as you can, as long as you can. And hopefully with a little bit of this cloud cover, it's not too bad. It is humid out there, but the actual heat index is not quite as bad as we've seen at some events, especially in the past.
Oh,
around the outside.
It's going to be the inside here, which does not work.
Osborne takes the line away. Smart move, blocks the line. Martin unable to triple, but sometimes even not tripling, you don't lose much ground because you're able to hug the inside afterwards. In fact, you'll see sometimes later in the day, when those ruts get deep on the outside, the guys will actually scrub and go double single to go to the inside, just because that almost becomes even quicker.
Alex Martin really needed a bounce back today. He's had 4 straight hard luck motos. He's been fast all year long. As we go back to Osborne now, he's going to try to get around Craig. He was under attack from Martin. Doesn't want that. He's going to use Craig for cover. Does he beat him to the inside? Oof. Oh,
their lines were coming together. Those ruts are almost touching each other. And you saw how Craig had to hop out of his rut to avoid contact. Smart move. You know, he had no choice. He was on the outside, hopped out of the rut, surrendered that position. Like I said, didn't have much choice.
Okay, so now Osborne to 4th. That'll push Craig to 5th. Alex Martin and Savaggi right there. Great 4-rider battle. Musquin is pulling away just a little bit. Cincerello has cleared Hampshire. He's in a 2nd. We'll see if he can keep the Frenchman honest. Eastern time. That's round 6 of this 2015 championship. Marvin Musquin continuing to roll here on the Red Bull KTM. But Adam Cincerello, who's gotten the 2nd, has matched his lap times for the most part. It's a 5-second lead. Let's see as they come through this next time if Musquin can stretch it out. Looks a little bigger than 5 to me.
Well, Marvin was at 2 or 3 that last time. And Cincerello also 2 or 3, basically mirroring each other's lap time. So maybe that's all Cincerello. Ooh, you see that? Wow. I said this track is basically the 41st ride, if you want to call it, the 12th man. And as the day goes on, we're not even halfway through the very first moto of the day. They did do some smoothing out in some sections, I think for safety reasons. We saw Jeremy Martin almost have a catastrophic crash over that big jump when his wheels washed out from underneath him in practice. So some of these sections, there's a safety issue where they've eliminated some of these nasty chuck holes. But it's starting to break down again. You already see these guys looking for other line options. But with a clear track, Cincerello is matching Musquin's pace. And, you know, Marvin might know that he's got a gap. He may have backed it off just a little bit because he knows how easy it is to make a mistake on this track.
And Hampshire still running strong in 3rd. Again, career best for him is a 5th in our previous moto last week. So top 3 would be great for him. And these guys have been battling each other as they come through traffic. The 16 of Osborne here, and the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, and the Cycle Trader Rock River Yamaha of Alex Martin. And they're not too far behind Hampshire now.
You know what surprised me a little bit? We're used to seeing Jeremy Martin just dissect this field so quickly. Usually by this point he's 3rd or 4th. He's still sitting in 8th place. And I don't know if maybe he's just not quite feeling it, or it's just hard to get around these guys. They are riding a great pace. Georgia, what do you got for us?
Yes, well, Zach Osborne, the number 16 on the Husqvarna there, he's been staying at Eli Tomac's farm in Colorado for the past 2 months. Well, Eli Tomac, as we know, had those 2 shoulder injuries and won't be coming back for the rest of the season. However, this past week, John Tomac and Eli have both been helping out Zach on the track, pitboarding, giving times, and John Tomac is actually here this weekend just for Zach, and he said, I got to get this boy on the podium again. So he might have a good luck charm with him.
Wow, that's dedication. Papa Tomac at the races to help out Zach.
Well, if he comes all the way for you,
Yeah.
you don't want to let him down either.
I wouldn't let that guy down. I'd be scared. Here is Jeremy Martin, as you mentioned. Okay, he has now caught Savatgy, who is in 7th place, but yeah, not exactly plowing through the field.
Not Martin-esque type first moto.
The only thing is, I will say, remember the first 10, 15 minutes last week?
Yep.
Took him a while to get going. The fitness is really where Jeremy Martin hangs his hat, so we'll see if he can make up ground. But last week he was in about 4th place at this point. He's in 8th right now, so he's got twice as much work to do if he wants to even get in position for a podium, maybe an overall win later in the day. And these guys, as we teased at the top of the show, they don't like the fact that only 2 guys have won the races this year. Savatgy, Craig, Osborne, they're all going to make it tough to make passes. They want to beat these riders.
They've been slowly chipping away.
Yes.
It's not those big gaps that those guys had. And at this point of the race, what time is it, Weech?
Oh, well, there is plenty of time for Jeremy Martin to make his move because there's still 15 minutes to go. In just 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more on your insurance by calling Geico. Short for a phone call, save money. But that's a lot of racing, 15 minutes, for Jeremy Martin to try to do some work and make up some points.
Jeremy Martin's looking for 15 seconds insurance in this race, so that put him right in the mix of it.
That's right. That's pretty much the gap.
He's 20 seconds off the lead.
And 7 seconds now. Musquin has moved out a bit over Cianciarulo, who's in 2nd. Hampshire 3rd. Osborne, Alex Martin 4th, 5th. Craig, Savatgy, and Jeremy Martin. That's who you're watching right now. And last year, Muddy Creek and High Point, probably the 2 worst tracks for Jeremy. So we'll see how he does here this time. Georgia, what are you hearing on the number 1?
I just was looking back to that interview I did on the grid walk with him, and I don't know if you guys heard it, but it did sound like he had a slight sore throat or a cough. He actually coughed and his throat was grumbly. I just kind of spoke to his mechanic and he didn't want to say too much, but from what I understand from that interview, it did sound like potentially he could be a little bit sick.
He definitely didn't sound pumped. I wouldn't put it that way. Now, I was like, this guy is just really doing a good job of staying relaxed before the motos. Maybe too relaxed. There's Pedro, the mechanic, holding the signboard out, trying to get his guy going. 8th place, not where the champion expects to be. Now, he's got Savatgy right in front of him. So he has a chance to make at least one pass. If he rallies here these 4 or 5 laps in a row, he could make some moves, but oh, it's not going to be easy. Look at Savatgy putting the bike right in front of it.
Well, none of these guys are going to make it easy on them either. They're tired of being beaten by these guys. And we keep saying it, but these young, talented kids are getting closer and closer. You know, they're going home and studying and watching the races back. Where can I find some time? What's he doing that I'm not doing? Where's he quicker? What's his strengths? What's his weaknesses? Let me work on his weaknesses. If he doesn't like pressure, let me harass him. You know, whatever it may be. You've got to know your competition to know how to go and attack them.
Now Savatgy's going to be in a tough spot. He has caught Craig, but he has to deal with Martin behind him. So let's see how he plays it. If he can make a quick pass, he'd be in great shape. But if he's stuck back here a while, you do not want to have the number 1 all over you while you're trying to set someone in front of you up for a pass.
I think maybe Craig, I don't know if it's so much fitness as he could also just be riding a little tight. You know, sometimes on a track like this when it's really rutted and the bike's all over the place, you just have a tendency to hold on a little tighter than normal, which creates arm pump. Those of you that ride know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not a racer, it's when your forearms swell up and you basically battle to pull in the clutch, use your front brake, and sometimes even just twist the throttle because your arms are so pumped up.
So this battle continues to rage. Craig, Savatgy, and Martin. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th. Musquin, Cianciarulo, and Hampshire leading it. Jeremy Martin has made one pass. He's gotten around Joey Savatgy. That puts him in the 7th. Now he wants 6th. 68 Christian Craig is right in front of him, trying to use an outside line and a lap rider as a buffer. Side by side down Bradshaw Boulevard we go, and I think Martin might have him.
Smart move by Jeremy Martin. He's realizing these inside lines where everyone's gravitating to are getting deeper, which means they're getting slower, which means the longer way around is becoming more even. And he just carried a ton of momentum up that hill. He was committed. Before he got to that corner, I knew the pass was done because he was so committed, and that outside line is smoother. Carried so much momentum, and that's Jeremy Martin's forte. It's his corner speed and momentum. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of corners on the motocross track, so it's a good asset to have.
Hey, well, Jeremy rides under some of the tutelage of the greatest of all time, Ricky Carmichael. And what did Ricky always say? Jump for show, corner for dough. You make your money in the corners, and Martin is maybe the best in the business in the corners. And I feel like it's the same thing we saw last week. Suddenly we are now seeing the typical speed and style of Jeremy Martin. Took half of the moto to get this thing going. You can take us through some of these passes he made, and it's all about the corners.
Does a great job of it. Watch this here. He squares it up, goes to the outside, then quickly flicks it in, grabs the handle, just gets his bike in the way. That is a veteran move from a fairly young rider. Savachi had no answer to come back. And then this is after the last sweeping turn. He sealed the deal, getting to that finish line jump. Great couple passes in a row there for Martin. Now he's got a chance to get some clear track, ride his own lines, and set his sights on things.
Yeah, but look who he'd have to set his sights on.
His brother.
His brother is the next rider in line. If we go back to our leader, Marvin Muscan, who has led pretty much every inch of this one and has really pulled away. He has 11 seconds over Cianciarulo now. Hampshire is third.
Look at
Osborne
Marvin.
fourth. Where did he find that line? Way off the side.
Hey, they put those stakes up to mark the edge of the track, and he'll make sure if he has to, he'll use every inch of it. He paid his entry fee. He's allowed to.
Okay.
You know, it's like when I go golfing. Trust me, I use every inch of that golf course.
Right. Just looking for a bargain. I want my money's worth. So Muscan over that big tunnel jump doubles it. That was something that 15 years ago they thought was unheard of and impossible, and now they make it happen yearly at this track. Here's your motorsport.com whole shot replay. This is how Marvin got the early lead.
Well, he was near the inside, got to the first turn first, didn't run wide, knew to keep it tight, starts closing the door, sweeps through that turn, see him crossing the white line, and get that motorsport.com whole shot award.
An army of Geico Hondas behind him.
That they were like fanned out across the track, 3 wide.
And Hampshire still hanging tough in third on his Geico Honda. He's the lead rider on that team after the good start. Osborne. Oh, I think Alex Martin has just gotten Osborne for fourth, so he's trying to run and hide from his brother. Whoop. Rare mistake from Muscan. Yeah, here it is. Osborne has been passed by Martin, and now Alex Martin trying to get Hampshire for third. The Martin boys halfway through this one, both on the gas.
Yeah, oh, look at that.
Alex!
You can tell they ride together. Even their styles are looking blended. I have to see their number plates to know which one's which nowadays. They're similar size and stature, they look alike, and they're even riding a lot alike these days. And they say they ride together a lot. And you can tell for Alex Martin, he's just been a silent workhorse, and he just keeps creeping up the order. Now he's a guy we're going, hey, he's always basically a podium contender. And for his brother, I'm curious to see what's going to happen when it comes down to a last lap battle between the brothers. They might not be riding too much in the near future together. Oh. And the lapper hold up Hampshire.
Yeah.
So I think that just donated the pass
to Osborne. And Jeremy Martin, you think will be back here somewhere. Still has some ground to make up.
Oh, look at that. See the shroud missing. I wonder if it got ripped off or his mechanic's going to get ripped on afterwards for losing a shroud.
Nicely said. Alex Martin, by the way, was third in points after 2 rounds, and then has had 4 straight motos of terrible luck. Had mechanical troubles in 2 of them, and then back-to-back first turn crashes. Last week was down on the first turn in both motos, so he's basically come from last 4 motos in a row, and poor Alex went from third in the points to 12th at the moment, and he's third of the track ahead of this rider, Osborne. Osborne and Amart not strangers to each other. They used to ride together all the time down in South Carolina.
But when we looked at the points before the start of the race, you said he dropped all the way to 12th. One good motor, he could be back up to 5th. I mean, you could throw a blanket. There's about 10 points separating 10 riders. And it just shows you how much depth there is in this class. Each and every weekend, we see a little bit of chopping and changing. The only two things that have really stayed the same is Martin and Musquin up front. They've shared wins. They've shared the points lead at different times of the season. But behind them, I mean, it could be a Husky, it could be a Suzuki, it could be, you know, a Honda, another KTM from the Troy Lee team. I mean, it's anybody's guess.
But one other thing hasn't changed. We never see Jeremy Martin and Marvin Musquin start the race together.
No,
one of them dominates the moto, the other one's in the back. And a lot of times it'll flip-flop between the first and second moto. It did this time.
It's going to happen soon, Weege. We're going to see it.
This is inevitable, right? But Musquin is gone in this one as Alex Martin, you see here in third on the blue. Cycle Trader Rock River Yamaha under fire from Osborne. There's some motivation there. That's your podium position. They both want that third place spot. .com/MavTV to enter. Just saw there that all new 2016 Kawasaki KX450F. About 7.5 pounds lighter than the 2015 model. So if you're going to win that thing, pick the KX of your choice. That might be the right choice. Good choices by Jeremy Martin. He has made another pass. He's up to 5th around RJ Hampshire. You can take us through this, Grant Langston.
Well, just goes a long way around, squares him up here, carries the speed. Now that's going to set him up on the inside for the next corner. See that momentum. Some people might say the Yamaha is way faster than the Honda, but he went to the outside and just carried that speed down the hill to the inside and put him. I always say it, put yourself in a position where the other guy has to go on the defense and you're on the offense, which is he got to the inside, put his bike in the way, and the guy on the outside has to surrender.
Oh, you can see Hampshire over that jump kind of looked over like, got me on that one. Yeah. Tough break for Hampshire, running third for most of this moto and has now been pushed back to 6th. Everyone else really starting to rally. And he lost that radiator shroud off the side of the bike. Not sure if that's affected the riding or not.
Well, we also saw the plastic cover flapping around, so if nothing else, it's at least distracting him.
Yep.
But these guys are professionals. They try and put it out of their head. You got to deal with what you got. Can't stop and get your radiator shroud put on.
No pit stops in this one.
Yeah.
Musquin headed down back into the valley and not too far away. So another uphill, back up top.
And also riding smart lines, just trying to stay out of the deep holes. We've seen him go to the very edge of the track where no one's going. So you can tell he's just managing it. He's basically trying to eliminate any possibility of making a mistake and throwing this away. Watch this line. I mean, no one's been there. And thank goodness he did, because there was somebody laying in the main line up the inside. And that's another thing with lappers. When you've got trick lines, a lot of times you can go where they're not going, which just makes getting through lap traffic just a little bit easier. Every now and then it backfires when a guy thinks, oh, I'll get out of the way and go to the edge of the track. And he had no idea that, you know, someone like Musquin actually used that part of the track.
Well, it's almost an instant replay of our first moto last week from Muddy Creek. These rutted technical conditions with a little bit of rain here and there really seemed to work in Musquin's favor. He dominated the first moto last week. The problem was he threw it away with a crash in Moto 2 on the first lap, and that basically ruined any chance of winning the days overall. So see if he can keep it on 2 wheels, get a good start in the second moto, and do what he really wants, which is not just win motos, but score overall wins and score points over Jeremy Martin in this championship. He's got to back it up each time.
At the end of the day, he wants his title. Yep. See him staying out of the deep rut. So at this point, he's also probably looking for potential lines for the second moto. Hey, you know, if I didn't get the whole shot, I could go this long way around. I got this trick line. Look at this battle heating up.
Well, this is a battle actually. Osborne in lap traffic. Oh, it's Jeremy Martin has caught him. I thought Osborne here on the white 16 had caught Alex Martin, but instead he's under fire from Jeremy. This is for 4th and 5th. Alex Martin up ahead in 3rd. Cincerillo is 2nd. All right, Jeremy's going to find some of these outside lines again. Will they work? He's got a lap and a half to do it.
I must say, I've got to give a lot of credit to these track workers. This track was a bit of a muddy mess this morning. It looks primo right now. Traction, this traction in places that are great. Oh, look at Martin just rail those ruts. Just something beautiful to watch. Taking different lines as well, landing a little bit of a soft spot there, so robbed a little momentum. Watch here. How much you want to bet he goes to the outside? He's already setting it up. He's going to scrub everything. Get on the power. Watch him scrub this. Scrub the next jump. And watch. He'll just rail this outside. Will he get it done?
Oh, and he got it. Unbelievable.
Smart kid, very smart kid. That is just, you can't teach that sort of stuff. And once he realized, hey, that line works. That's the one beauty. Sometimes when you come through the pack, you find lines that you would probably never plan on taking. And then he goes, that is my spot. And I'm going to get really close and I'm going to set it up. That was about a predictable pass as I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, you did predict it straight away in advance. Ooh, Ryder down there.
Probably high-sided, lost the rear coming around that turn. A lot of these guys basically controlling the cornering with the rear wheel sliding around. Problem is, you hit a slick spot or catch a rut, it can go ugly quickly.
And we're back to Martin on Martin crime here. Alex Martin third. Jeremy, of course, wants that top 3 for the podium and the extra 2 points that would come with it. So Alex and Jeremy might battle down to might be the last turn, which is that turn that Jeremy was using to make passes. Could be interesting. Musquin has gone 9-second lead, just got it to about 11, and then maintained it over Cincerillo. And by the way, this, I believe, will be a career high moto finish for Cincerillo. Had a third a couple of years ago in his rookie season. So second, he says he wants to win one of these. But if you haven't gotten a second yet in your career, you got to start somewhere.
Well, he said maybe just a moto. So if he wins the second moto, guess what? That gives you an overall as well, regardless of what anyone else does.
All right, so the number 50, the young kid in the Kawasaki, could be in the mix today. At least he's going to split your championship contenders. And Marvin Musquin, as I said, dominated the first moto last week just like this, was not able to do it again in the second moto. He was fast, just made a mistake on the first lap and crashed and had to come from about last. So he knows, as good as this moto has been, his work is only halfway done. But what a piece of work it was. Marvin Musquin wins Moto 1 here at High Point. No problem at all. See the gap between he and Cincerillo in just a moment. 5.5 seconds, and Martin almost got Martin, but he didn't. Alex is going to hold off his younger brother and finish third. This is not even a thing anymore, Alex Martin finishing in podium position. That's just where he belongs these days. Alex has really stepped up his game in the last 12 months. Good job for him, good job for Cincerillo, but the best job of all, turned in by the Frenchman, Marvin Musquin. Got the moto victory. Just completed the first 250 moto here at High Point Raceway. We'll give you the Lucas Oil race recap. Good start for Marvin Musquin. Up against an army of Geico Hondas, and he gets his Red Bull KTM out front of the ball. Motorsport.com whole shot for the number 25. He was too hard to stop from there. His title rival, Jeremy Martin, not a good start. He had to work very hard to get up inside the top 5. This outside line, his corner lead into the finish, did some serious work there. Made, I think, 3 passes in that section, but was only able to get up to 4th at the end. Actually was beat by his brother Alex. Here is Alex on the 31. Great riding for him.
Nice to see him on the podium. Look at that, just full commitment. Get that bike land over. I mean, he railed that rut. Looked just like his brother, but no one could stop this guy. Start to finish, just how he rode it up in his dreams.
Yeah.
Moto 1 in the book.
Well, they knew that the very technical riding style and form of Musquin would work well on this track. It sure did. Won his first career moto at this track a couple of years ago. Let's send it to Georgia with Marvin.
Yes, our race 1 winner. 3rd whole shot of the season, Marvin. Congratulations on that race win. It is kind of warm today, probably the warmest race we've had so far, and the track was pretty rough this morning. They say it's got a European twist to it. What do you think?
Yeah, thank you. It was definitely a good start. The whole shot, that's what I need. That's what I need to win motos and win championship, you know. So, yeah, it was. I had the best gate, and thanks to Frankie. And thank you to the WP guy, Marky and Jim. And we've been working on the suspensions, and that track is so rough. Those braking bumps are huge, and we have to slow down so much before those drops, downhills, because it's so steep. So I gotta stay calm and then use my technique as much as I can, because if I try too hard, then I stand up in the rut and I lose time. So I gotta use my technique for the second moto with a good start and hope to go 1-1 today.
Well, we know you have good technique. Congratulations. Well done, Marvin.
Yeah, that's the goal. He wants to go 1-1. He has the 1 completed. We'll have a second moto in about an hour on NBCSN. Cincerillo finishes 2nd. Martin beats Martin 3rd and 4th. Osborne back to 5th. Savachi gets Hampshire late. Craig back to 8th. Plessinger and Nelson round out the top 10. Here is 11 through 20. McElrath right behind his teammate in 11th. And Nick Gaines, good to see him back in action. A rookie privateer finishes 20th. Let's send it back to Georgia.
Yes, congratulations, Adam Cincerillo. That was an awesome race for you. You rode really strong, best result you've had, and second time on the podium this season. But you told me this morning, I'm going to get a race win. I really am. But you stayed with Marvin.
Yeah, my personality, I always believe in myself, and that's key, especially when you're racing against these top-level guys. But yeah, I didn't get the start I wanted to, but I was able to get through some guys, and it took me a while to get by RJ Hampshire. But once I did that, just tried to stay decently close to Marvin. You know, it's cool getting second, but it's not very cool getting second by a minute, you know. So wanted to stay pretty close to him. Felt good with the way I rode. Need to clean up a few things. Come back for the second moto.
Congratulations, well done, Adam.
Do not count that kid out. He wants to win one of these motos. As you said, Grant, that would give him an overall if he does it later today. Here's your upcoming schedule. We go to Budds Creek in Maryland about 3 hours from here next weekend, and then the first weekend off of the summer, Red Bud Spring Creek, another weekend off, back to Washougal in Washington. Let's send it back to Georgia.
Oh my goodness, Alex Martin. It has been a tough couple of races for you. The last 2 weeks you've had problems, struggled, you DNF'd, you've had issues. You come back, no issues, and you straight up got third, and you were being chased down by your brother, but he did not get you. I mean, how does that feel?
Yeah, I saw him on the first lap, and I knew he was behind me, so it was just a matter of time before he was going to be right on my back end. And unfortunately for him, he didn't get on the podium, but I mean, I didn't want to give this spot up, you know. Like you said, I had a couple rough races, and it feels good to rebound and come up here on the podium. You know I belong up here. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, but more than happy to represent Cycle Trader, Rock River, Yamaha, Roostamex, Never Summer, the guys over at Enzo, Bell Helmets, X-Brand, EVS, Garnet. Just thanks so much. Feels good to be up here.
Well done, congratulations. Hope to see you next moto. Thanks, Alex.
All right, finally with some good luck there, Alex Martin, but the best luck, well, you make your own luck, and that's what Marvin Muscan did. Gets the whole shot, rides this track beautifully, and the Frenchman dominates the first moto and getting closer in the points.